What is going on, squad? I am Jason Aponte. That is Brad Graham, live from Minnesota and the joint practices. Usually it is Brad that does the introductions, but since I wasn't at practice, this feels like an interview. And I'm going to do my best Brad Graham impression and try to interview you the best. And if you guys see, yes, that is
Let's go.
That's a 28. And
That's a Trey Sermon. No.
It is not a Trey Sermon because in the spirit of Minnesota versus the San Francisco 49ers, it can be none other than
the Jets.
Jerick McKinnon, quarterback one, super disrespected. We're off to a blazing start here, Brad. Brad, how are you, man? Appreciate all your coverage. Serious stuff, though. Crushing it as usual. The most humble and knowledgeable content creator you will come across, man. Happy, like literally sitting on my couch, refreshing my phone, waiting for Brad Graham updates. Carlos Hyde, Jesse Rodriguez, absolutely not. No way. No way. Disrespect to Jerick McKinnon will not continue. But no, literally sitting on my couch, refreshing for you and Steph and your updates, and you guys completely delivered.
Shout out
I felt
Steph.
like I was there.
Shout out Steph. She got the Danny Gray video. She's getting quote tweeted by Lombardi and a bunch of like Josh Norris. So shout out Steph, man. She's out here cooking too. Same with David Lighty too. Out here cooking. You already know the vibes.
Spoke with Steph after practice, and I told her, I was like, "Ooh, fantasy Twitter got a hold of your little video, and now you cooking, man." So, man, again, going above and beyond for this fan base. No matter what you think about our opinions, don't ever question the work ethic of any of these guys, man. I promise you. But Brad, enough about that. Everybody wants to know what's going on. What was the feeling? I know you did your live earlier, and I tapped in as well. What were the vibes today with the offense? Let's start there. With the offense, during team periods, 1-on-1, 7-on-7s, what was the overall vibe that you got?
I feel like the word to describe today is clunky, okay. And you were at training camp with me and Jordan Ellie and the rest of the squad. So you remember too what it looked like when we saw a clunky practice from the offense. Like it's not all bad, but it's not all good. And it's like this ebb and flow where, you get a bad pass or you get a bad drop or you get a sack, but then they come back and make a nice play. So that's kind of what the vibe was of the offense today, led by Trey Lance, of course. And again, no Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. He's still dealing with the knee stiffness. So no Mike. Colton McKivitz goes in at right tackle. But I would say all across the board, offensive line struggled and kind of permeated into everything else, which translated into kind of a clunky day at the office for the 49ers.
And that's the thing is I think we were a little bit blinded by what we saw in the preseason game, and people just automatically that's why I sent out that tweet that said, all right, I've seen enough. Trey's got that dog in him and he's built different. I've seen enough, right? Like that was a joke tweet based on, yes, you're excited for those ups, but there's still going to be those things. So I implore people to still keep a level head when it comes to all of this, because this season will be ups and downs. It will be. Trey will have those ups that we're all going to be excited about. This offense will exceed expectations at certain times, but at certain times it may not work the same way. And right now, the 49ers are working with their offensive line as they best see fit. This is the funny part, Brad, and this is what I want to bounce off you. How much of what this offensive line is based out of injury, right? Like Jake Brendell's the starter now, but Daniel Brunskill's injured. So he's the starter out of necessity at this point. Now, they gave him every opportunity to be the center, but is that exactly what they wanted? Were they still during the evaluation process? That's the part that we're going to have to kind of go through. We know what Trent is. Mike's not there. Colton McKivitz, even if today he struggled, I want to get this across. He was very solid during training camp. He had some very good reps. So while today may have been a down day, and don't get it twisted, Danielle Hunter is no slouch. That's a man, right?
Danielle was cooking today. He was on point today.
Right. So Danielle is a baller, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean anything about McKivitz that we didn't already know. How much of this offensive line right now that is what you see is out of necessity and maybe what the 49ers necessarily have to put out there, not out of what they want to put out there.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. Again, Brendel is still getting his run, still getting opportunity. I definitely think the Vikings defensive line is much better than what we saw against the Packers. I think the Packers. He says, "I thought it was an 80." No, I'll tell him it's that's a Jet McKinnon special.
This joke is not going to age well throughout this episode, but continue.
I think when you look at how the offensive line did against the Packers, they did pretty well. But you also have to understand who's on the opposite side. The Packers literally had no one out there, no Kenny Clark. It's just a bunch of guys I never heard of, and they look like there's a reason why I'd never heard of them. They were just kind of mediocre at best. You mentioned Danielle Hunter. You got Patrick Jones out there going into year 2. They have some good depth on that defensive line. So I think it's a combination of one, Colton McKivitz has been all over the place. That's the QB1 special jersey.
Nate knows the vibes, man. I'm sorry, keep going.
But I think part of it too is also I have to keep reminding myself that Spencer Burford is a rookie.
Yes.
And although he shows that power and the pancake ability, which you love to see out of offensive linemen, he's still learning the mental side of what he needs to do, and that could put him a step or half a step behind. I think there was a particular play where he was eyeing Danielle Hunter like he was in space, so he wasn't blocking anyone, but he was watching Danielle Hunter go up against Colton McKivitz, and I could see him like, should I start motioning over to help? Danielle hits an inside spin move, gets a sack. Burford tried to get over, but was just a step too slow. Again, those are the things that it will be instinctual at that point. I could see he saw it, like he had his one hand to the inside. He's looking at Danielle Hunter. Then he sees the counter inside, and then he's like, oh, crap, I need to get out there. And just is a little too late. But I think that comes with reps. That comes with experience. So I think it's a combination of both. You got Aaron Banks, Burford, literally getting their first real run with the starters. Brendel as well. So you really got Trent out there, and everyone else on the inside or to the right of Trent is brand new. So it's gonna be ups and downs with that offensive line, I think.
And to be fair, Trent Williams gave up a sack today too. I know, guys. I know that that's not normal, and it's not. And that's why you should
It happens.
It happens. And whoever was that one that did that, I forget who the player was. That person should be celebrated because it is that hard to beat Trent Williams. But again, it's important to remember not to be too high or too low off of any sort of training camp reports. Again, and that's the thing. I think today was the biggest lesson because I took a little walk over to Vikings beat reporters and Vikings coverage. And I think that it's important to remember that different eyes see different things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Brad has video of George Odom intercepting Kirk Cousins. One Vikings beat reporter described that rep as a throw into the flat. Now, Brad, I am not the smartest. I'm not the smartest gentleman when it comes to football. I am not the brightest X's and O's guy. But it's 15 yards down the field on a post route to the sideline considered the flat?
No.
Oh, it's not
at all.
Okay. So, very important that while you get your reports from people that you trust, it's important to understand that different eyes see different things. Different guys use different terminology. Something that I've kind of learned too, now that we've been at 2 camps. I'm very meticulous with the way that I word things because I don't want someone to be like, well, actually it's this. But it's pretty funny to see someone who was like a 40-year veteran covering the Vikings say the flat. And
definitely not the flat.
Absolutely not the flat. Nowhere. So it's good to understand that, right? And that's why it's beautiful to have the guys on the ground, those beat reporters that are there, and us in the stands who have a better view. And for the most part, we've spoken with beat writers afterwards of these things, and they say, we wish we could be in the spot that you're at up top because you see things better. So again, training camp reports are what they are. Take it with a grain of salt in certain instances. Some guys get it all right. For me, it's impossible to get everything right, especially when
Yes.
there's so much going on. So today was a big lesson in training camp reports are what they are. You believe the guys that you want to believe. Sometimes you believe the narratives you want to be true, right? Someone says that Trey Lance looked good. You're like, I believe that. Someone else says Trey Lance was inconsistent. You're like, I choose not to believe that. So that's the part that you need to figure out at this point. So
Yeah. I think too now that this is like I think both of our second times covering training camp. I totally understand why these OG beat reporters are sticking to charting plays because like you said, it's objective to a sense. Like if I think Trey Lance is good, my definition of good could be so much different than someone else's because the way I bake my nuance and I bake my context into things, my definition of good isn't Trey Lance out here just lighting up the field. I want to see him make his progressions. I want to see him work through the pocket. That could translate to an incompletion. But if he's working his way through the pocket and does something really well, and it doesn't ultimately land into something that's charted well,
keep
like
going.
there's context that's built into that, right? So I get why OG beat reporters are like, this is what we charted, this is what it was, because there's no nuance in charting, right? Charting is pretty straightforward, so I totally understand it. It's not how I go. I like to watch. I like to put my context into things and I like to evaluate. So for me, I don't feel like a fish out of water. Like I love evaluating football. So I will put all the context. I will do everything I can. And I'm not going to see it right 100% of the time. And you know, Jason, when you're at training camp, there's a million things going on.
That's why I ask you. Sometimes I'll be like, who was that? And you'll say this person.
There are
Okay,
a million
cool.
things going on.
Like
I have to ask you. I'm like, Jason, dude,
right,
I didn't even see that. What
right.
happened?
We'll just compare notes afterwards. Good point.
Right. Because, and two, at joint practice, it's impossible to see everything because you have two separate practices going on because the way they split offense and defense between both teams. So it is impossible for any one person to literally be able to glean as all the information out of these practices. You can only see what your eyes can see. And so that's like my reports I take with a grain of salt. I can only speak to what I've seen. Other people saw things that I didn't see. So overall, at least based on my thoughts and flow of the everything that went on, offense was clunky, but there's always room for improvement.
Love it, man. And I wanted to point this out too. Someone said in here, who won in trash talking? Apparently, Kirk Cousins, who is a nice religious man, threw out an F-bomb after he had a nice completion to Adam Thielen, something to the effect of "You fucking like that?" Oh,
Did
wow.
he really?
Yes.
Who's saying this?
Many
Vikings
reporters have corroborated this story. I mean, you
Really?
can't tell from up there. Yes. Yeah. So again, I think it speaks to the juice in these joint practices. These joint practices are more juiced up than any preseason game. And I think I got a taste of it last year with the Chargers and Long Island girls talking about it. Thankfully, no one is laughing at our QB. That's what happened when they were there. Like they are juiced up. They want to show what they can do right at that point. So I think that it's funny that people brought that up. But I wanted to touch on something that you brought up because it's something that I want to continue to hammer home. An incompletion doesn't mean a bad rep, and a completion doesn't mean a good rep. And in those ways, the same way that Brad's talking about, keeping your eyes down the field, moving up in the pocket, you can throw a perfect ball, Trey Lance, and the guy drops it, and that's an incompletion. That's a ding on Trey. In the same lane, Trey can throw a ball that's a little too high, and Brandon Ayuk grabs that thing out of the sky, and it's a completion. And you're going to sit there and tell me that one rep is better than the other? That's why it's important to understand the context. It's important to understand all of those nuances and see all of that. Raw numbers I don't care. 11 for 14, 4 for 14. I don't care. And I'm going to continue to hammer that home. As long as I have eyes and a brain, I will not just use raw numbers in any way to describe a person's play, whether that be during the season, whether that be in training camp, whether that be in a practice. None of that stuff. It should be one part of the equation. It shouldn't be the end all be all, because anybody can say anything. Again, Trey Lance could go 12 for 12. All of them are wide receiver screens. But if I told you he went 12 for 12 and didn't give you that context, you'd say, man, most accurate quarterback who's ever lived. It's wide receiver screens. It's good to know these things, and this is why you have guys like Brad and other guys who cover the team that are good at contextualizing these plays. But Brad,
let me expound on that a little bit more, because that happened in training camp today. You had two plays, one to Malik Turner and another to Deebo Samuel, both in the same part of the field, about say between 20 and 35 yards, and both of the guys going left to right. Trey Lance puts the ball in a catchable place. Both wide receivers drop it. That gets a ding on the overall completion percentage, right, of Trey Lance. But they were both catchable balls. They both got their hands on them, and they both should have brought them down. On another play that was a catch from Brandon Ayuk, it was a low pass, and Brandon Ayuk had to dig that thing out of the dirt. And it was a better effort by Brandon Ayuk. However, again, you get a notch in the completion column for Trey Lance. So again, the context does matter. Again, right there, you had two incompletions that should 100%, when it's Deebo Samuel or Malik Turner, should have brought those ball, should have caught it. And then you get the great play by Brandon Ayuk to dig it out of the dirt and get the completion as that first down, move the ball period. Did pretty good.
That's why people get. Shout out to Chris, man. Appreciate the donation. Oh my, Jason's preaching right now. For once, I'm actually like saying something that's credible. So, but Brad, a lot of people get completion percentage and accuracy confused. And a completion isn't necessarily accurate, right? That's accuracy is something that you need to see with the eye and can't be quantified with any number. What I mean by that is, you can complete a pass and have it not be accurate. You can throw a ball where it needs to perfectly be, and a guy catches it in stride and is able to gain more yards. Again, accuracy is not completion percentage. So when people throw out completion percentage to me about quarterbacks, I would ask, just because the guy caught it, was it accurate? That doesn't make it accurate. And that's kind of where I am with that. I think we've had a good talk with quarterbacks at this point. Let me shift this real quick to something that I know 49er fans don't want to hear me say, but I got to keep it 100. I got to keep it 100. I got to keep it 100. You got to watch Justin Jefferson up front. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, 49er fans. It's my favorite wide receiver to watch right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, 49er fans. That man baked Diamador Lenoir. Jets gang, if you don't get out of here, don't make me cook you again. Please don't make me cook you again. Your entire team is trying to be the 49ers, and you're in here talking crazy. Your coach, your offensive coordinator, your running back, your linebacker, Laken Tomlinson, you are literally trying to be the 49ers, and you're in here talking crazy about us, and you're still the third best team here where I live, right outside this window, okay? Like, go away. Don't make me cook you any further, okay? But you got to watch Justin Jefferson today. And Justin Jefferson, unfortunately, put Diamador Lenoir in a blender. And I don't want to put that on Lenoir because he does that to everybody. But again, today is a day where there's backups, right? Manuel Mosley, Travarius Ward, not there. Okay. So the Niners was trying to be first of all, that's a racist comment, Jets gang. Thank you. We're about to cancel you for that. You can't call them that anymore. They're the Washington football team. Anyway, so what I found very, very telling when we spoke earlier was it wasn't Ambry Thomas that was across from Diamador Lenoir. It was Ken Crawley. Talk a little bit more about that.
So clearly, Jason, again, we've both been to the last two training camps, and Ambry Thomas has unfortunately been on the receiving end of what we would call, for not to be disrespectful, but just getting cooked. Like it happens. Offensive linemen get cooked sometimes by defensive linemen, and it happens the other way around. Uh, Ambry has been unfortunately just not holding up in coverage. Whether it's Brandon Ayuk, whether it doesn't matter seemingly who the wide receiver is. Now, I will give Ambry Thomas. He had one good rep today. I forget exactly who he was guarding. He had a nice pass breakup. But the fact that Ken Crawley, a guy that was signed, I think on one of the last days of training camp, is playing opposite of Diamador Lenore on the outside. That's not a huge vote of confidence
That's
from
telling.
D'Amico
It's very
Ryans,
telling.
right?
Very telling.
So we understand, Ambry Thomas had that kind of storybook ending to the season, and how he was able to get that interception to help send the 49ers to the playoffs. But he has had another tough camp. And if he cannot get on the field ahead of guys like Ken Crawley, then I think that speaks more to his position with the coaching staff and where they are kind of like, I don't know if there's a defensive doghouse, but it definitely feels like Ambry Thomas might be in there, especially if guys like Diamador Lenore, who's been buried on the depth chart, and guys like Ken Crawley are getting first crack.
Brand new Ken Crawley too, off the street,
Brand new.
off the street.
And I'll give Ken Crawley.
No, he's a veteran.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend like I watched him like the whole time, but I saw him do decently well in some instances. Again, not gonna pretend like I watched him the whole practice, but I saw him do okay. But again, I think it's just a bigger indictment on Ambry Thomas at this point, not being able to get on the field when the 49ers need him to be on the field.
Right.
And that I think speaks the loudest.
And look, again, we make jokes on here, but I do want to be respectful to NFL football players because they are on the field. That's why I'm just a guy in my room talking. They're the guys on the field. But a lot of people lose sight of the fact that when Ambry Thomas made it onto the field, it was because every single other cornerback on the team was injured right before that Cincinnati game. It wasn't like,
well, they even went out and they got Josh Norman, Drake Kirkpatrick, and put them in front of him again. And it's like it's like the same thing all over again. Like, what's going on?
Right. Like, that's the thing is, it's not like he was pushing people for playing time. It was, we had to start someone at this point. Credit D'Amico Ryans. And this is why I'm not necessarily as worried if these guys, I mean, I think, Emmanuel Mosley being at the joint practices today and working on the side is a huge sign that he's going to be fine for week one. I think the same with Charvarius Ward. Jimmy Ward, we're not necessarily as sure. But this is why I don't lose as much sleep about who would be playing because of D'Amico Ryans. Think about what he did with Ambry in his first game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, there's a large argument that those three receivers for the Cincinnati Bengals are the best trio in the league. There's a large argument for that, and I probably wouldn't push back against that.
No, I'd make that argument as well.
Right, and there was a time in that game where Ambry's name wasn't called, and that's how you know you're having a fine game. No one's calling your name. Eventually, things are going to happen, but this is what keeps me afloat when it comes to if there are injuries or if there are problems with this team. Is D'Amico Ryans is so good at playing to player strengths, hiding those guys, putting them in positions to win. I don't want to say hiding because hiding sounds like a backhanded compliment. I'm not going to say hiding. I take that back. Playing to player strengths. And I think that's why D'Amico, this is his last year as the 49ers defensive coordinator. He's going to have a head coaching job next year. Why you look at it like this, it's still a little bit troubling for me to see that Ken Crawley is the first guy off the bench when conventional wisdom would have told you it would have just been Ambry and Lenore. And maybe Lenore's not suited to be outside. That's a conversation for another day. But Ambry got playing time during the biggest games of the season. Every game since that Cincinnati game that he played in was the biggest game of the season. I don't know if that speaks more to his development or their confidence. I just know that I don't feel good about that. That's it, more than anything.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. Again, I was softer on Ambry again because, like you mentioned, when he came in against Cincinnati, it was rough, and you could tell D'Amico was having to scheme around him, or scheme with him, I guess. And he started, then he came out against the Falcons. He was in position, but again, still not making plays. And then he started to kind of progress a little bit, and I saw that as a positive. At least you're taking steps to further your development. But the fact that it feels like he's back to where he started after that kind of run that he had, and he did show some promise, still show that he had a lot to work on, but he was making some plays. But to kind of feel like he's back to square one, I think is the most concerning thing about it.
And that's the thing too, is I tried to look at these joint practices, and still there's an exhibition game to be played where he will get reps as a chance to build off of that. And what I mean by that is you're 1 or 2 plays away as a cornerback from walking different, playing different, moving with a little bit more instinct. It's like, again, I've made this analogy 100 times, like a shooter. You get a free throw to go down if you're not making, shots. You get a layup to go in. You see the ball go through the hoop. You start to say, okay, yeah, I'm still that guy.
Thing.
Right. Like, that's the thing about football that is so fascinating, is it's 1 or 2 plays. You're 1 or 2 plays from either losing all of your confidence or gaining it right back. And I felt that this was a prime time, now that we know that Ward and Mosley aren't going to be playing, that Ambry and Lenoir were going to have a shot to be out there. Who knows? 1 or 2 plays, Lenoir looks a little bit different. And I know we love Samuel Womack. Maybe Lenoir's just starting nickel. Some of those things have to do with just 1 or 2 plays. And I think that that's a little bit of it. Look, Justin Jefferson is top 2. And for me, he's number 2. And this is hard for me to say at number 2, because I think Devontae Adams is still the best receiver in the league as far as release.
That's fair.
Yeah. But Justin Jefferson does that to 95% of corners, right? I don't think to the degree that we saw today with the Amador Lenoir. Like, Jerry Alexander is not falling over, bailing on his technique and like diving, like trying to just, catch a guy, which is, if you watch that video. But at the same time, these are valuable times for these guys. And I chose to look at it like, you have a shot right now to distinguish yourself from, are you going to be a fringe guy, or are you going to change up and you're going to show a little bit of difference? And that's where I'm at with those guys, at least at this point.
Yeah, and I think Tarvarius Moore is another guy you could add to the list. Speaking of Justin Jefferson had one of his bigger plays on Tarvarius Moore, and shout out Kevin O'Connell, man. He's taken a page out of the Kyle Shanahan playbook and lining Justin Jefferson up in the backfield
in the slot. As a
running back.
Whoa! So that's what you saw today. That's interesting. Yes. I didn't hear anything about that. Tell me more, please.
Yes. So I'm not 100% on the correct vernacular, but is it a Texas route? When you're
is Rich Madrid here?
I need Rich to check in. Is it a Texas route? Or is it a choice route?
Okay. So the inside joke with us is that we all believe that the play that it was Raheem Mostert in 2020 in week 1 scored on that touchdown pass from Jimmy Garoppolo. Yes. We would say, we were like, oh, look at that Texas route. And Rich Madrid would literally blast us. It's our Texas route, man. It's a choice route. So it's so I'm so happy that you brought it up. So look, if it's out, I
need Rich here to cook me right now.
Right. If it's out of the Shanahan playbook, from my understanding, Rich, I hope you're here. And Ron brings it up, the Jeff Wilson touchdown. That's not Texas. That's a choice route.
It's a choice.
And I think that what you notice is the receiver runs and he stacks and he watches the hips of the defender and he goes the other way. So yeah, exactly. A Texas route is a straight angle route. Like, you have to hit your foot and go. Right. So I don't know what you saw today, but I'm so glad you brought that up
But
because
all
it
I
is
can
a difference.
say, right? So it's I call it a Texas route because I think it's a straight angle route, but it could be
Okay.
anything. It could be a choice route as well. But that's beside the point. The point is they lined him up in the backfield as a running back, and then he ran a route out of the backfield. It was an angle route, choice route, Texas route, whatever you want to call it. But they were able to scheme up Tarvarius Moore one-on-one, and Justin Jefferson against Tarvarius
Come
Moore.
on.
I mean, you
Come on.
already know.
Look,
You
look,
already
look,
know what
and
the outcome was.
that's no
It was
slight on Tarvarius Moore either.
no, it
Like
was just like it
I
was
literally
Justin.
just I literally just a few minutes told you that Justin Jefferson is the second best receiver in this league. Devontae Adams is the only one that I would put above him right now. And let me also give you a little bit more about Justin Jefferson. Not only is he my favorite wide receiver to watch, he's about to have his best season. 100% his best season. And he's got the best 2 seasons that any receiver has ever had in this league. And need I remind you, Justin Jefferson didn't start playing significant snaps until week 3 of his first season. He didn't even play like week 1 or week 2. Remember, just a slot guy. Just a slot guy. But Kevin O'Connell's going to throw the ball a little bit more, use him in that Cooper Cup role. Justin Jefferson's about to have the best season he's ever had. And if you're playing fantasy football, wide receiver 1, every single format, not even close. I know what Cooper Cup just did. Not even close. Justin Jefferson is about to do something that you've never seen. All right. Enough about that. We're not concerned about our corners, Josh. At this point, I think this is good. I think this is good discussion, at least when it comes to the backups. I think we know what Ward and Mosley are. We just want to get them to week 1. That's it.
I think you said it. We know what we know what Emmanuel Mosley, Charvarius Ward, and then if you're getting Jason Verrett back, that's house money. If he's healthy, you know what he's capable of. We know what the cornerbacks are. It's actually beneficial in a sense to get Samuel Womack these reps with these other guys. So, hey, it's going to tell the 49ers if they're good to go with their depth or they need to make other plans.
100%. So, running backs, what did you see today? Elijah Mitchell, hamstring injuries are the new high ankle sprains. In terms of, if you guys remember in 2020, every single injury was a high ankle sprain. And now, here we are in 2022, everyone has a hamstring injury. Daniel Brunskill, Elijah Mitchell, Charvarius Ward, Manuel Mosley, Jimmy Ward. It's 5 off the bat, right? Running backs today. Not to be smarty pants, but sometimes it's called a China route. Look, China, choice, Texas, Christ, man. I mean, shit, man. I mean, I don't really care, man. Like, no, that's just Rich's voice. Coach, that's the beauty of all this is that there's different vernaculars, different terms, and things like that. Again, we're just pointing out something that the guy who yells at us the most about film was talking about. Like, that's an inside joke. Like, I love that, man. Like, there'll be a choice route, and I'll be like, what a Texas route. And, like, he'll lose his mind in the group chat. Like, shit, man, what are you talking about? I'll be like, it's a joke, Rich. But that's the beauty of football, again, and I'll reiterate this, is you can learn as much as you can, but you'll never know it all. And that's the beauty of it, is that's why I love this game. That's why I continue to cover this game, dig into it, and I want to, like, look at it as much as I can because – there's more to learn. That's what makes this game so beautiful. But running back room. Look, at the end of camp, this running back room came alive. And everyone came alive. I don't know if they all felt the pressure, the sting of cuts, things like that. But Jordan Mason, Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon, even Jermichael Hasty, they all came alive at the end of camp. What did you see today from the running back room?
They didn't get a whole lot of room to work. Again, I think the offensive line was a little bit overmatched. I think TDP had the best run of the day in the red zone period. He was able to kind of break free and shoot through. I think it was one of the A gaps for probably a solid 10-yard gain. But it's been hard sledding for those guys. They have just had a really hard time of being able to get these running lanes to open up. I think right now, outside of Elijah Mitchell, like, you can make the argument that TDP is the best runner outside of Elijah Mitchell right now. Jordan Mason continues to look good. Jermichael Hasty looks pretty decent. I think Trey Sermon's kind of struggling a little bit. I don't know. I don't know, man. I have high hopes for Trey Sermon. I want him to be successful, and I want him to succeed, especially in this offense. But I don't know. At this point, at this stage, I feel like TDP is running better right now.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing because of anything that you're saying. I literally just texted the group chat. Like, I heard that Justin Jefferson ran a Texas route today, and so TDP had the best run. But that doesn't necessarily have to do with anything they're doing. Give credit to the other team on the other side. Look, guys, I know we love our team. We all do. But it's okay to say, the other team played well. And I think this goes back a little bit to that whack-ass Warren Sharp post about Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC Championship game. And I think Jordan Elliott made a really good point where he posted the last 7 plays that Jimmy had as quarterback.
Oh. Yeah, I saw that.
I've got a bigger rant about all of that stuff, but I'm going to save it. I'll keep it to myself. But it's okay to give other guys credit. It's okay. Those guys get paid too on the defense. Right. It's okay to say, you know what?
Derwin James got paid today.
Well,
you see how much money he got?
And then, of course, Derwin James gets paid. And then, of course, I see the inevitable should have drafted him over McGlinchey takes. And it's just like, come on, man. Again. But going back to this, and you're talking about the running back room, and I want to correlate this to the point of this Warren Sharp post, which caught a quick unfollow from me for this.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, it's okay to say that the defense dominated. It's okay to say that those guys played better than your offensive line. What is wrong with saying that? What is wrong with that? It doesn't mean that this guy played bad. They played better.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guys on the other side of your favorite team play better. And you need to give them credit. And I think that's where we are right now at this point. It's okay to say, hey, they didn't beat these guys this day. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. On certain days, your team will beat those guys, but they didn't today. And I think that's the problem that I have with a lot of the takes about, right? Well, they're getting whipped or whatever, but give credit to the guys on the other side. Stop acting like they're just bad.
That's like the takes we get out of training camp when it's no pads day one, offensive line going against the 49ers defensive line. It's like, at a certain point, I just sit back. I'm like, what do you expect? We know how deep the 49ers defensive line is, and they're it's kind of that same thought process. It's just going to happen sometimes.
Yeah. And look, I'm a fan. You're a fan. I mean, I'm wearing a damn 49ers jersey, a Jerick McKinnon jersey that I paid money out of my pocket for.
Yep.
But we're objective. You have to be objective at some point, right? You have to be able to look at your team and say, here's where they're lacking. And you know what? This team is better at this than your team. Now, are you going to make these grand sweeping statements after one joint practice? No. Because tomorrow, the 49ers could come back, the offensive line could whip the defensive line's ass, and they can run their offense as good as they are. That's what makes these practices so good. And it makes the discussion so good is because the competition of outside of your own will really show you where you are at this point. And I know we like to use, Trey's going up against the number one defense, and yeah, but they're not hitting. They're not trying to hurt you. They're not trying to win. They're not trying to put things on film that are going to keep them in this league. It's against other opponents is where you're really going to find out where these guys are. Because at the same time, while guys are trying to put out their best film, while they're going against their teammate, they're still not trying to hurt that person or trying to do anything that's going to put them in a bad spot. Would you disagree with that, Brad?
No, I would not disagree with that. I think you're spot on with all of it. Um, And so we already know, sometimes you also have a bad day. I think, shout out coach. We were talking about this last night on the stream. Is like he was like, I predict that the 49ers offense is going to start out slow. And I was like, I agree with you. I think, based on the, inexperience on the offensive line, the inexperience of their starting quarterback and things like that. I agree with. I was like, yeah, I think they will start out a little slower, and then they will come back the next day and rebound. So that's what the hope is, and that's what we're looking for. And everything that we've seen out of Trey Lance and the 49ers offense, they weren't perfect in training camp, but what the thing that we kept seeing is they keep coming back and they keep firing and they keep getting better and improving.
Matt said you sound sad, and I see it in here about feels like a funeral. No, what?
How do I sound sad?
Hold up, real quick. Public perception, fantasy football Twitter. Trey Lance threw a bomb to Danny Gray on 7-on-7s and is the talk of the town. So let's say you didn't read any other report other than that. You would say, offense is rolling. Here they go.
They had a fire practice today.
Like again, if we're here for anything, it's to contextualize all these things. And Brad was there. I wasn't. I just read everybody else's reports and I cheated a little bit. I called Brad after practice and I said, hey, what did you really see? And I took some notes. I had to go pick up my daughter, but I couldn't make it in Minnesota, but I had to ask. It's the narratives. It is, look, if you look at the one bomb to Danny Gray, you would say this offense is humming. Oh my God, here they go. They're rolling. Brad, it didn't look like that at all. Right. But it's okay to say that. And also, CJ Gray, and we'll get to this donation. I don't want to put. Pat Peterson is one of the best cover corners that has ever played this game. I want to make sure that I say that up front.
Facts.
But Pat Peterson, at his age right now,
he's not
sat on a route, and Danny Gray took him to the shed. And that doesn't mean that Pat Peterson ain't going to get a gold jacket when he gets a shot. But contextualize those things. Go for this and read this donation from Coach, who, thank you again, as always.
Coach says, this is why I love joint practices. The coaches know the situation they're putting the players in. Straight up good on good. No game planning. Day 2 will be huge. Who got better? Who adapted in 24 hours? And coach is speaking 100% because now they're going to be able to get on the film. They're going to watch the tape. They're going to grind it out, and they're going to be able to come back and ball out.
Anybody who's felt what that person across from them is going to do says, okay, you beat me this way? Bet. I know what you're going to try to do to me. Now I know that that's there. Y'all got to chill, man. Like, we're not about to talk crazy about Patrick Peterson, who is a legend, Hall of Famer. Yo, BNA called him Pat Peterson. Like, it's okay, man. Like, hey, look, right now, that's where he is. But that doesn't mean that we get to disrespect an absolute legend, man. It's funny, man. I love it. You know me. I'm going to get spicy. I'm going to say some shit. I love it. But, like, come on, man. Come on, man.
That's funny, man.
Real quick. Did you see anything from the Vikings offense that would give you worries going forward with the 49ers defense? I know, again, we're missing corners, missing safeties. They're changing their offense, though. They were a large run-heavy offense under Mike Zimmer because Mike Zimmer wants to run the ball and beat you down and play defense and all those cliches. But Kevin O'Connell don't want to do that. Kevin O'Connell, it's a new day. Justin Jefferson talked glowingly about the fact that he's going to play in that Cooper Kupp role and that they're going to throw the ball more. Did you see anything that maybe gives you a little bit of worry going forward with this defense in any way? And I'm just asking a question just to make good content at this point.
I mean, obviously, you hit it on the head already. It's the secondary depth and where they're at right now. I mean, right now you have Talanoa Hufanga, who's the only starter back there right now. And he's the guy who's supposed to be taking a step into a role where he was playing part-time last year. So you basically have and I think Talanoa Hufanga did a good job, but obviously the secondary.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, it's just it's the comments. Keep going, Brad. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me, man. Don't
No,
listen to me. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. So right now it's the secondary. I think the Vikings offense was moving the ball a little bit better, scored a couple more touchdowns, did a couple of those things, but it's just secondary right now. They're a little tough.
And look, again, we're just talking about joint practices day one. And I think the biggest thing that we should be applauding is, were there any injuries out of today?
I mean, not that I saw or that I could see that was officially reported. I think there was a little scare with I think it was either Dalvin Cook or Alexander Mattison, but that was about it.
Wait. For my fantasy football team, please, was it Dalvin Cook or Madison?
I think it was Dalvin. I think it was Dalvin. He kind of like went down, but he got right back up and he kept playing.
Damn it! All right, okay.
So.
All right, okay. All right, thank you.
But no injuries that I saw.
I just wanted to make sure. I've got a draft coming up.
Yes.
So and if you do have some insider information into what happens, please just text me that and don't say it on a public platform for anybody that might be in a league with me. Anyway, again, I think that the overall positive today is, and I don't even know if it's a positive, but it's just a reminder. I feel there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. There's going to be ups with Trey, there's going to be downs with Trey, and I think any rational-minded person should be ready for that. You were ready for it with the last guy.
Mm-hmm.
You should be ready for it with the offensive line. I think the one constant is going to be, or two constants are going to be this: coaching, defense. I don't think either of those things will falter in any way unless there are massive injuries.
Yeah, and health is going to be the only issue.
That's it. And that's what keeps you excited about this offense. Meaning, this team isn't going to be down 21-0 in a blink. Like, that's never going to happen. And then you're going to ask Trey Lance to dig you out of a hole. This team is actually going to create more turnovers than they've had in a long time, which is going to flip field. So again, when people say that Trey Lance is walking into the best situation, sure, it has to do with coaching. But look at the talent around him. Best linebacker core in the league. Some would say the best front seven in the league. Now you pair that with two very good corners. And if Jimmy Ward's playing, look at what you've got. So again, when people try to tell you, hey, slow down, Trey Lance is your quarterback. Trey Lance isn't walking into a roster where he has to do everything. And they didn't even ask the last guy that took you to a Super Bowl that was in.
They asked Debo to do everything.
Right. They're not asking. So again, these joint practices should be more about caution, understanding ebbs and flows, understanding valleys and peaks, understanding ups and downs. That's it, more than anything. And look, there's plenty of people who have gone on to have incredible seasons, who have had piss poor camps. Is what it is. That's camp.
Or the other way around. Really good camps and piss poor seasons.
Look, all right. I hate to bring this up. Trent Sherfield was the new AB. Trent Sherfield is playing in Miami right now.
Brian Hoyer was the next coming of Joe Montana.
Right. Again, one good camp doesn't make you the Hall of Famer. One bad camp doesn't make you a bust. Again, I might joke around on Twitter. I might mess around on here and just.
You joke around on Twitter?
Yes. But come on. Stay level-headed, stay focused, and understand that the bumps and bruises are coming. One good game from Trey Lance in preseason, 11 snaps, doesn't put him in Canton. And if those 11 snaps didn't go the right way, doesn't mean that he's not ready.
People would be roasting him, though.
They would. That's why I went a little bit crazy. And looking back, you wake up the night after, when you're sending a bunch of texts to your ex and everything. I woke up, I was like, I was like, man, maybe I should slow down a little bit. So this advice that I'm giving you guys should probably be thrown back to myself at this point. But Brad, anything else that you guys wanted? Anything else that you wanted to talk about from what you saw today? I mean, I think you did an incredible job. If you guys aren't following, which I know you are, on Twitter, he posted many things. If you're not following on IG, I know you are, because it seems like the 49ers put out a survey to the season ticket holders or something like that. Am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong on that.
It was anyone who went to the Packers game
Cool.
at Levi Stadium.
Cool. They put, how do you consume your 49ers content? And the SF Niners is up there with digital content. Look, Brad, I say this a lot to you, to your face, but I want to tell you on this medium in front of many people. That really made me happy. And it brought a tear to my eye, man. Like, do you understand that this man is not only the most humble, nice guy, but he's also one of the most knowledgeable guys. You deserve it. You deserve all of this, Brad, man. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so happy to see you.
I don't take compliments well, but I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, look, let's go, my boy. Let's go. Like, I literally ran through my crib, like, let's go. That's what I want to see, man. Look, a lot of people have problems giving people their flowers. And there's a big saying from where I'm from. A lot of people want to see you do good, just not better than them. I don't give a shit about any of that, man. I'm so happy for you, man. I really am.
I appreciate that, brother. And I'm glad we get to do this stuff together. And we all getting to see the whole group kind of rise up, man. It's been a lot of fun. But I know this is just the ground floor for all of us, and we're gonna keep going up the ladder, and you as well, my guy. Spicy Aponte making moves out here. So looking forward to it. And if you're not tapped in with this guy, with the fantasy stuff coming up, all the underdog fantasy that this guy's rocking with.
Promo code Aponte. I might be putting out a best ball draft out there.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, this guy's about to be making moves. So it's been a blast, and I'm glad.
David Lombardi likes Brad too. Let's go.
well,
he quote tweeted you today.
He did. I think we're warming up to each other. Shout out to David Lombardi. I mean, I think David Lombardi's making I think we're all making the men's there. Like, and David Lombardi has always been one of the best beat reporters, if not the best, with some of his coverage. But I think we're all getting on the same page. Look at all the 49ers content creators, man. Whether you're a beat reporter, whether you're a podcaster, doesn't matter, man. We're all getting the vibes together.
Shout out to Lombardi, man. I met this man at the Combine. We've spoken many times. The nicest guy I've ever met, man, and has sent many kind words my way, Jordan's way. He is literally one of the nicest people I've ever met. So it's funny how online perception can get misconstrued when it comes to all this stuff, man. And you know what? Really,
no tone in these tweets. It can always go a different way and mean something else. He seems like a really nice guy.
Not bad for some podcasters and guys who post 49ers.com videos, and that's just a joke between Brad and I. No, look, seriously, look. Talking with these guys, you get credential for one thing, the other you end up crossing paths, and then they end up telling you, "I know you, I know your work." Like, that's the part that I think is lost. Is like, sometimes you feel like you're speaking into the abyss, but these guys, they know who we are. And we know who they are, clearly, but we have an understanding. I think all of us understand that we're all just trying to cover the team in our own way, and there's a lane for everybody. That's it, man. And nobody writes articles like that guy or many other people. I couldn't imagine being able to come up with that many words articulately like him or Matt Barrows or any of these guys. It's a beautiful time right now, man. And look, man, this might be tooting my own horn. Maybe our own horn. You're spoiled, 49er fans. You are spoiled.
Hell yeah.
Man. Like, you get to pick.
Hell yeah, they're spoiled.
You get to pick who you want to listen to. Like, you get to pick and choose, and there's something for everybody. There's fan content, there's analytics, there's straight up scheme. Like, the 49ers, while a lot of people say the market is saturated, you're spoiled. You are spoiled. Absolutely spoiled.
Well, the market's saturated, but thankfully the market's huge, and there's so many 49er fans. So literally, you guys can pick and choose what type of content you want to entertain, or what type of content you want to engage with, and that's the beauty of it. Is you get a little bit of everything, and again, you got Jason, who's got heavy fantasy knowledge that takes all of this stuff, puts it into fantasy.
Promo code Aponte. I'm about to put that out. I'm about to put that out there
Again,
real quick.
if you haven't heard about Underdog Fantasy yet,
Underdog.
I'm not even a company man. I don't have any affiliation with Underdog Fantasy, but I can see what they're putting together. And they saw this man and they said, we need him on the team. So that should tell you something about Underdog and what these guys are up to. They got Croc on the payroll. They got all the guys over there. I think Josh Norris too, right?
Dude,
they got everyone, man.
Hayden Winks, Norris, all those guys, man. I'm lucky to be over there with those guys. So if you guys want to join a best ball draft, I'll put it together and I'll throw it up, man. I did one yesterday and I had a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie, roster baited a little bit to my team, man. Like I couldn't believe what I was able to put together. Getting Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, and Darnell Mooney on the same team. Ooh, man, we out here cooking. Yeah, we out here cooking,
Stonks, baby.
But yeah, man. But yes, 100%, man. Like, you know, we do this, and we did it for a long time because we wanted to scratch that itch that we had. But it's a beautiful.
That's really what it came down to. We were just
it.
Football fiends, and we're like, we need an outlet to talk about football.
That's it. And to see other people that like we collaborate with, that we're collaborate with. I'm sorry. That's 2 F words. That's it. We're good. We'll still be monetized. We're good with this. Forget collaborate with. Absolute friends with. Friends. Family. Like Brad, Jordan, Steph. Like we're like, these are people that if they were like, hey, I'm in Jersey, I need a place to stay, I got somewhere for you to stay, man. Like we're not like playing games. Like we feel this way about each other, man. And it's hard for many people to put this out there because they have ego or whatever it is, or they're competing. There's no competing. None of us eat if we don't all eat. And I think that's the best way you look at it.
Yeah, and I'm really excited with how we've all kind of worked alongside each other. We all kind of have our own lanes, right? Like we all kind of do our own things. I post 49ers.com videos. You're over here, Spicy Aponte. Can we
give a real quick context about that? Look. So this is it. Like we're done with 49ers content. After this, we'll just get this out of here or whatever, Brad. But like, can we talk about this real quick? Like for the 49ers people that don't understand the 49ers.com reference, do you want to start this story off or should I?
No, I want you. You're a better storyteller, so
I am a better storyteller. All right.
Yeah, you lead it off.
So before Rich Madrid ever followed me, before, Brad followed me because I think he saw something in the kid a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I think he was like, okay, yeah. And then
I like to evaluate, so I can evaluate talent pretty easily.
Right. He was like, maybe we'll see. And then we met in Mobile, and he was like, okay, my suspicions were confirmed. Okay, all right. Rich Madrid, as you guys know, is a big brother, father, friend to all of us, right? But I think you would agree, Brad, and many people in this chat would say is a bit abrasive on Twitter. A bit.
He's gotten a lot better. Well, we got to give him his props. He's gotten a lot better.
He's doing great. He's doing great.
He's doing phenomenal.
Just a little abrasive, right?
Oh, back in the day, it was wild.
Oh, it's different. Completely different. And this is before Rich followed me. So this is where this story comes from. Look, and I see already a Christ man. So Rich and Brad, again, Brad's very good with X's and O's because he's played. Rich is very good with X's and O's because he's
good with that. He's good with X's and O's.
He's an incredible sponge.
He's good with X's and O's.
But he's an incredible sponge, like in terms of understanding things, knowing what the rules are. Okay. So there's an argument that breaks out on Twitter, as it usually does. And Brad and Rich, this is a little bit of spicy Brad too. Like a little bit of spicy Brad. Because Brad
I don't get
usually
spicy very often either.
No, Brad just usually kind of chills. Like if somebody's talking crazy, he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna go do my thing. Like I aspire to be more like Brad. But at this point, this ain't that Brad. This ain't that Brad. This is a different Brad. Rich is saying something about
I had enough for Rich.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like it was a tipping point for Rich.
I was just like, Rich, shut up,
Rich,
man.
shut up, man. Exactly. All right. So Brad posts something. Rich says something about the scheme. Brad has pushed back. Rich and him go into this long thread. And this is where the 49ers.com joke comes from.
Yeah.
Is Rich, when things get past, scheme, right? Like things get a little heavy, right? Like a little bit like personal. And this is what I'm trying to get away from. And he was just like, hey, man, just go back to posting your 49ers.com videos, meaning that he's implying that Brad is just lifting videos from 49ers social media in some way.
which happens. That's absolutely part of it.
But Brad gives credit in that way. But at the same time, I remember sitting there like, oh my God, like two of my guys are like going at it right now. And it's so funny. We're all in the group chat right now. At this point, and we bring it up all the time, man. Like it's just one of those funny things. It's like, again, I think the lesson here is online persona will have you not liking someone that you've never interacted with or spoken with about the game in any way, when I think you probably should do that, like at this point. So yeah, I
got to shout out Rich too, because that one hit me. I was like,
yeah.
oh, like that was a Mike Tyson KO. I was like, oh, he got me.
You were typing
I was
wild
like, he
fast.
got me. I was like, I got to step up my edit game now. Screw Rich. I'm going to prove him. I'm going to make these edits that much doper. I do. I got to shout out credit. I got to give credit to Rich. He kind of energized me to get my edit game up. So I think that was like back in 2020. I put out some of my best edits ever. I got to shout out Rich, man. He's like, you're out here just posting 49ers.com videos. And I'm like, damn it, he's right. He's right.
My AirPods fell out because I'm laughing so hard.
I was like, damn it, this son of a gun is right. I need to step my game up. I need to post some edits.
Oh, my God.
But shout out Rich, man. That's a good time.
Look, I think the overarching lesson is, I know that we get into the habit, and Twitter is like a dunking contest, right? Like we all try to dunk on each other. And I think that, sometimes when you look at people and their takes and you argue with them, doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. And that's happened to me. I've run into people who I've had outright arguments with on Twitter at games, and then I'm like, you know what? Shit, man, that guy's actually a good guy. Like he's actually a nice guy. So, all right, Brad, I think this is the perfect place to end it. You're the one in control here. Let everybody know where to follow you and everything and what else is going on. I know you're going to be at practice tomorrow, so let them know.
Yeah, I'll be at practice tomorrow. We'll be doing lives again tomorrow. You already know the vibes. Follow me on the SF Niners pretty much anywhere. We're probably there. And that's about it. And then you already know, follow this guy.
Well, look, follow me. I'm just in the crib. I'm just watching like these guys right now at this point. But
yeah, but you're Spicy Aponte. You're one of a kind.
I mean, people just like me yelling and like sweating and a bunch of stuff or whatever. It's like they don't like it when Dan.
No, they love the Jet McKinnon jersey. They love the Spicy Aponte. It's a vibe, man. The vibes are immaculate.
Hey, man. Like this video, subscribe to the channels, hit that notification bell for when we both go live. Appreciate you guys, Jason, Coach, Gammon. Shout out to the mod squad. Shout out to everybody tapping in, man, who cares about what we have to say at this point, man. It's awesome, man. And this is a beautiful time right now because getting close to actual football. But if you guys are interested, real quick, before I plug Underdog Fantasy, which I'm going to post a draft in a little bit. If you want to join, make sure you use that promo code APONTE, APONTE, to double your deposit. Play best ball against me. But watch playback is where you can watch me, Rich, Vish, Akash talk about the games. We had.
I saw some of those clips that you guys posted. That looks dope.
It was so good. It was so good, honestly, man. We had so many people in there, man. So if you guys want to watch the game, all you have to do is log in with your TV provider, and then you get to watch. You might get a organic Christ man. Like that's like a PlayStation trophy. Like that's something that like pops up on your screen, like when Rich says it, and it has nothing to do with the internet. But yeah, watch playback, Underdog Fantasy. I'm gonna post a best ball draft in a bit. Use that promo code APONTE, APONTE, so you can play against me and other people and double your deposit and top stream 49er fans official list. Ooh, man, we got a.
So
Oh, here
we
we go.
just got done. We just got done talking about the content creators, right, and all the
Go for it.
different content.
Yeah.
We it would be blasphemous of us to not talk about the actual viewers and the
Talk
guys
about it.
that engage with us
Yes,
every
sir.
day, that are in our streams all the time, like giving us juice, like kind of hyping us up sometimes. So yeah, we got great content creators. We got a lot of beat writers, podcasters, whatever, you name it. But we also got
This
some
one's
of the
better. Yeah,
we
like he
also
posted a better one. Yeah,
we
here we
also
go.
got some of the best fans, man. Like I'm telling you, like when I say, like, you guys know I'm big SDS, you're big spicy
Spicy Squad.
squad. Like that, the community matters, man, and these people matter to like helping us do what we do, like because these guys set the tone for the chat. Like
Oh yeah.
we can out here spewing whatever nonsense we have to say,
And
but it's
set people straight. Like they sent jet skins
yeah,
up out of here, man.
it's the dudes in the chat.
I thought I cooked them. Y'all sent his ass off.
Yeah, they're like, no, 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 no. That is not. This isn't welcome here. Like, kick rocks, and they'll ban them and boot them. I didn't even see what happened. Like, so we got to shout out all the viewers, everyone. Again, there's much more than just listed here. These are some of the best for sure. But all the guys out here in the chat, you guys already know we got love for you. So can't say enough about the ecosystem that we have in front of us.
Hold up. Kevin
Read
here,
this
man.
one.
Kev, thank you for the donation, man. But look, man, if y'all mess with us, y'all need to get over there and follow Real Talk Niner Talk. I'm pulling up for their show in a little bit, man. I'm gonna be in their comment section. Kev, I love that show because again, you're spoiled as 49er fans, right? You want guys to give it to you straight. You want guys to give you analytics. These guys, I love their dynamic because it's barbershop, real talk. And I think that a lot of that stuff, that's why they're Real Talk, Niner Talk, a lot of that stuff is lost because even myself, y'all like Spicy Aparte, but I feel like I hold back. When I go on their show, I don't hold shit back. Like, I don't hold none of it back. Like, and I get to let it go. And Kev is one of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to X's and O's, knows his stuff, man. And their platform is as big. Look, man, there's a lane for everybody. Yeah. We're not crabs in a barrel. And what I mean by that is crabs are fighting other crabs to get out. We all can shine. We all can win. And that's the point that I want to say more than anything. There's your guys that you go to for certain things, and there's your guys that you go to for other things. But every single person has a chance to shine. And if anybody who's out there watching and they want to like join and like start a YouTube channel or start a podcast, start. But I would tell you, take your bumps and bruises, and for a little while, yeah, it is, and it's gonna take you a little while. It's not. It's gonna take you a little while to feel like you're talking to people, dude. There's many times that I started this channel and we had 200 subs, and I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore because I feel like I'm not talking to anybody. Keep working. That's it. Keep working, bro. That's it. Absolutely. Keep working. Always.
And we got people out here too, like Coach, bro. Coach, start your channel, man. We're gonna watch. We know you've been talking about it. I'm going to put you on blast. Start your channel, and we will support you. Anyone else, too, out here who is, has the knowledge and is out here doing all that good stuff. Shout out to Silverado Kev, man. Shout out to everyone. This is the vibe. Like, this is kind of like the new era, right? Like, the internet is so big. There's room for all of us to have a lane. So, again, whether it's the old guard coming over to YouTube, whether it's the new guard coming on up,
they see it.
They
see it. They see it though. That's why they give us love though. They see it. Yeah. They're like, oh, we got to get over to this, and at the same time, we show them the same respect because we wouldn't have that inspiration to do it without them, right? Like again, like that's the thing is there's a way to respect the people that have inspired you to do it while blazing your own trail. Ooh, that's a bar. That's low key a bar, man.
That's profound.
Ooh, that's low key a bar.
All right, we've been giving out all kinds of love. Let's get out of here before it takes a turn. We appreciate all you guys. You already know the vibes. Follow the guy over here, Jason Aponte. You see where to follow him right down there, right
Follow
here.
that guy.
You already know where to follow this Ginger. Appreciate all you guys. You already know. Shout out to SDS. Shout out to Spicy Squad. We'll be back for more 49ers content as always. But for now, we're out of here. Peace.